Hi there. Let me check. Am I live? Yes, I am. Hello, everybody. This is Annie Bush. I'm your holistic longevity strategist here on a Sunday afternoon because I got my DNA done and I want to share with you what I learned as through the course of getting my DNA done and to inspire you to get yours done too because there's so much great information now. Your DNA, let me see if I can get this position a little bit better. There you go. All right. So when you think of DNA, well, first off, again, I'm Annie Bush. And a little bit about me. I've been in the health and wellness space for over 10 years. I've been from a personal trainer to a health coach to a certified brain health coach. And I recently spent a little over a year at a very respected cognitive decline institute here in Sarasota. And I learned a lot about functional medicine, functional neurology, and DNA. So when we are talking about DNA, we are not talking about 23andMe, learning where your parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles and nieces and nephews, where everybody came from. But what we are gathering is what your parents and your grandparents and your great-grandparents brought to you genetically. What color eyes do you have? What color hair do you have? What size of a nose do you have? That's all based on your genetics. And you have thousands and thousands of pairs of genes because you get one from your dad and one from your mom on both sides of your family. So it's the gathering of this data that makes up who you are genetically. Now, what does that mean? Like I said, is it like the color of your eyes, the shape of your nose? But your genetics also lays down that foundation for your brain health, for your cardiovascular system, for your blood sugar regulation, your susceptibility or vulnerability to diabetes. So all of that comes down genetically from your mother and your father and your grandparents to make up who you are, that makes up your blueprint of your health. Now, is it your destiny? No, because that just it's just your blueprint. You get to decide how what you're going to build on that foundation. And that's called epigenetics. It's what you eat, what supplements you take, how much water you drink, how much you exercise. Are you sitting on the couch all day long? How much sleep you're getting that actually influences whether those genes get activated or not. So we are in control. And this is what I love about this. Yes, these are the genes I've been dealt, but it is totally within my control as to which ones get activated and which ones don't. So that's what today is all about, is learning about how this all happens and how you can take control and have your personalized health program. So you don't have to, it's like managing your health rather than waiting and having to manage disease, if that makes sense. All right. So I first learned about DNA analysis again at this institute, and my husband at the time got his DNA done. Now he's still my husband, but at the time that I was at the institute, I should have rephrased that sentence. He got his DNA done, and here is his report. It is 171 pages. It is very long and very detailed, and it has the DNA genes listed and what supplements you should take and maybe a food recommendation. That's it. Those types of reports were designed by scientists for doctors, not for you to understand, not for you to be able to implement. It takes a doctor a lot of time to go through that if they were going to put a program together for you, which they did not. Here's your genes, here's what supplements to take, here's a few foods, go on your way. With that particular report, 171 pages, it cost $1,200. Plus, the analysis of it by the doctor was broken down into 3 separate sessions at around $300 each. So that's another $9. So that report with its analysis was $2,100. I want you to remember that number. Okay. So I leave the institute and I'm like all excited about, DNA analysis, and I find this company. It's called 3x4 Genetics. And I started looking into them. And it's like, oh my gosh. It's not a 171 page report. It's a 31 page report. Here's mine that we're going to go over, but I want to talk to you a little bit about this. Remember what I said? It's the epigenetics. It's the what you do that affects your genes, your genes. That's what's in this report. It tells you what to do. It's amazing. So I'm going to put my glasses on so I can read. I don't want to miss any of this stuff. So hold on. All right. So, because that report was just data. This is the how to, what you're going to do. All right. So it is 31 pages, which is organized into 31 different pathways. And we're going to talk about your detoxification pathways, your methylation pathways, which is your ability to get rid of garbage. I have an issue with that. Being able to clearly get rid of garbage that is building up. Inflammation, which most of us have. Your vascular system, your blood sugar regulation, and then the fun categories that are in here. And they take these 36 pathways and they break them into categories. And some of them are your ability to release fat through exercise. So those of you out there who are having trouble losing weight because of exercise, it may be in your genes, and we'll talk about that. What exercises you should actually be doing. What exercises is your body designed to do? It's in this report. So they have 36 pathways, which they have reduced into 6 categories, which are then narrowed down to the 3 areas that will have the most impact on your health. So if you're one of these people, let me see. I see there's a comment. Can I see it? I don't know. Oh, hey, Mark. How you doing? I'm just getting used. This is StreamYard, so I'm just getting used to where the comments are. So they take these categories, and then they break it down to the 3 areas that are going to be the most impactful to your health. Okay. And then for each one of these 3 areas, they give you all the foods that you should be eating, which is nutrigenomics. That's the whole new study of how the foods that you eat impact your genetic blueprint. So you're going to get the foods that you should be eating, number 1. Number 2, you're going to be getting the lifestyle interventions. For each one of these, you're going to be told how to exercise, what exercises to do, what environmental toxins are impacting you, and how to clear them. And then your supplements. So you got these 3 big areas, and you're going to be getting these kind of recommendations on all 3. That information, if you're one of these people that says, just bottom line it for me, just tell me what to do, that information is in 2 pages. You could literally take the 2 pages out of these 31 pages and know what to do to have the biggest impact on your genetics. It's amazing the way they have just so consolidated this and made it so actionable. So there you'll get that information. So stay with me. I'm going to be able to tell you how you're going to be able to get your report at a discounted price here a little bit later. But I want to talk about what I learned in my report. Okay. First off, you have what's called beneficial genes. Yes. And according to the woman who did my analysis, I have quite a few. She says usually people just have 2 or 3. And you have a lot more than that. But the most important ones were, number 1, if you've ever heard of the APOE gene, that is the one that we always think of as the Alzheimer's gene. That's the one that determines your level, and we don't like to use the word risk, we use the word vulnerability, susceptibility, however you want to put it, to developing Alzheimer's. So again, you get 1 gene from your mother and 1 gene from your father. The APOE genes comes in either 2s or 3s or 4s. The APOE4 version is the one that's associated with Alzheimer's. So if you have an APOE, say 3-4, you have 1-4, you have a 33% higher risk of getting Alzheimer's. If you are a 4-4, you are more likely than not, if you don't take care of your health right now, you are more likely than not to develop Alzheimer's. But again, this is epigenetics. This is knowledge. This is information that you can use now. I am an APOE3/3, which means I'm in a very, 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 very low risk, vulnerability, susceptibility to developing Alzheimer's. So guess who the first two people were that I called and texted was my brother and sister, so that they would know. More likely, we're not going to have identical DNA, but just so that they know that I was an APOE3/3. That was the first bit of good news. The second bit of good news is I have the FOXO3 gene, which is the longevity gene. So I am genetically destined to do work in longevity. I know that's corny. But yeah, so I have the longevity gene that I have a very, very, very low risk of developing what they would call age-related diseases. Okay. And then the other little piece of good news is that I'm a fast metabolizer of caffeine. Woohoo! Which means that, so I can have caffeine. It takes effect very quickly and it goes through my system very quickly, which means I can have coffee later in the day and still be able to sleep. I can have caffeine before I go do some sports and it'll get into my system quicker. But let's say if I was running a marathon, that would mean throughout the marathon, I would have to keep putting caffeine in my system because I'm metabolizing it quickly. So that was the other good beneficial gene. Okay. So what are the ones that kind of rocked my world that I didn't see coming? I didn't know we're going to be there. So both my parents died with cancer, of cancer. All right. So as a kid, you're thinking your biggest, highest risk vulnerability is going to be of cancer. Well, years and years and years before that, my dad had an aneurysm. Yeah, he blew a valve in his heart. We attributed it at the time of his medications, that his blood pressure got too low and then the medication spiked it too high and blew the valve, not thinking that he had a heart condition. Well, my three main areas of impact are inflammation, methylation, and then my vascular health. And they are all connected. All right. My body, methylation is your body's ability to clear toxins. I am a slow metabolizer of toxins, especially ones that are called histamines. And I will get back to that in a moment. But if anybody knows me, I eat pretty much kind of like a keto diet, except I can't have cow dairy. I eat goat. I love goat cheese. I use coconut milk, that kind of stuff. But yes, I eat bacon and grass-fed beef. No problems. Except now with this vascular gene, guess what I need to avoid? Saturated fat, specifically animal saturated fat. So that's the first thing that kind of blew my world. It's like, oh my gosh. All right. Okay, I'm going to be able to put aside the bacon, put aside all the sirloin, so the grass-fed beef. Okay, I can put that aside because I still have my avocados and my olive oil and everything like that. I turned to the next page of my summary, and I have what they call a histamine overload gene. Now, what that means is there are certain foods and other toxins that create what we call histamines. And my body has a hard time clearing the histamines, which means they build up. Guess what foods include histamines? Avocados and walnuts. I would, up to this point in time, I was having an avocado a day, and I have a bag of walnuts sitting here by the desk, not knowing that by that intaking, that consistent every day, putting those foods in my system, which was then creating the inflammation, which is then activating that methylation system that can't clear them, which is then increasing my inflammation. So this was kind of the aha moment for me as far as my DNA goes, that I have to pay more attention to my vascular system. Now, did I have any signs and symptoms that something was going on? Well, if anybody knows me, you know I love going hiking in the woods, waterfalls, the whole thing. I would do a little huffing and puffing going up an elevation. But I always thought it's because, we live in Florida. We're walking on level land all the time. And by the time we go, hiking in the waterfalls, we just got out of a car or a plane and I haven't warmed up. Well, no. And I also have some hemoglobin issues. I don't have a lot of oxygen in my blood. So I always thought it was that too. So as a result of my DNA report and this vascular issue that I now know has a high and to the somewhat extent, very high impact on my health, now I have to change my epigenetics of what I'm eating and how I'm training to support my vascular system. Now, the other couple beautiful things that are in this report when I talk about exercise, there's some really, really cool summary pages in the report with little graphics, and they go through the different elements. But I just want to point out one thing. The energy overload is how your body responds to food and breaks it down. The inflammation that my body is creating is kind of acting like little soldiers guarding my fat cells. So based on, and it's in this summary, and it's really nice, it's graphic, it's easy to understand. These little inflammation cells are guarding my fat cells. So I cannot release fat cells from exercise. So what I need to do is get the inflammation down to get rid of the soldiers to break up the fat cells through exercise. So based on my genetics, if I needed to lose weight, I would need to do it through food and diet, because efficiently I would not be able to do it through exercise. How do you like that? And the activity graphic, I love this one. It goes from your warm up to your actual training to your recovery. It takes me longer to get warmed up. As far as exercise go, my body has a better propensity or is better designed to do marathons or time endurance type activities rather than short sprints. How do you like that? Once I get going, because it takes me a while to get warmed up, but once I get going, I'm good in the endurance category. However, then it takes me longer to recover. Now, I had kind of an inkling about this because I wear an Oura ring. And if I have a day where I've had a harder workout, my ring will send me a message, hey, you need to spend more time recovering today. I'm like, well, what are you getting that from? Well, because it is measuring my heart rate and more importantly, my heart rate variability. All right. So I had kind of an inclination that something was going on with my vascular system, because if you know anything about heart rate variability, you know that the bigger the number, the better. Heart rate variability is the time between the heartbeats, which is a sign of your parasympathetic nervous system kicking in, that you're calming down, you're able to relax. If your heartbeat is like a metronome all the time, you're in a sympathetic, stressed out state. And I was having a hard time getting that space in between my heartbeats. So that was an indication that there was something going on from a cardiovascular standpoint, which is now validated in my DNA. So there you go. So what were the first steps that I was going to do? All right. Once I got my report, you all know what a believer I am in, there we go, the LifeWave stem cell activation patches. Now, for anybody who is new to the patches, here's what they look like. Hold on, stand by. They're little patches that they have a crystal matrix in the center. Can you see that? This is very holistic. This is a non-transdermal patch. That little crystal matrix sends a light wave into your body to activate certain systems and pathways in your body. Okay, so just like the DNA report talks about pathways, your inflammation, your methylation, these patches you put on certain acupuncture points that activate those same pathways. Are you following me here? Yeah, so I got my patches out and I got my report out. And I said, okay, which patches do I need to continue using to support my DNA? Well, since I have the longevity factor, I have the longevity gene, I'm going to continue with my X39 and X49, which are the stem cell activation patches. There we go. I can get those straightened out. There we go. These activate a certain copper peptide that activate your stem cells that help to renew and create new stem cells. So this supports my DNA. One of my big impact categories is inflammation. So I'm going to wear my EON patch to reduce my inflammation. One of the impact categories for me, that one of those areas was methylation. Okay, methylation is detoxification. Here's the deal with this. The glutathione patch helps you to produce your own levels and raise and increase your own levels of glutathione. This was one of the patches that I was going to start considering reducing because I'm thinking, I'm not exposed to toxins. I eat really clean. Well, when you dig deep into my report, you'll see that my glutathione production is reduced genetically. So where I was thinking I was going to be able to limit my use of the glutathione, it's now back in the mix every day because my genetic reduction in glutathione. The other two things is because of my cardiovascular system, the carnosine patch, which supports heart health and starts supporting that cardiovascular system. And because I need additional recovery, I'm going to make sure I keep wearing my silent nights. That increases your own body's production of melatonin. So from a completely holistic, not putting a supplement drug into your body, you can support your DNA using the LifeWave patches. Because all you're doing, the only thing that's going into your body is a certain wavelength of light that's going to activate those pathways. All right, so I mentioned earlier that big old report that my hubby got was like $2,100. All right. And I still have to sit down and try to figure out. I mean, because we know what supplements he's supposed to take, but he didn't get anywhere near the analysis that I got from 3x4 genetics in mind. Because at this point, I know exactly what I'm supposed to do. I know what exercises I'm supposed to do. I know how long I'm supposed to be sleeping and all that. And you can too. So as a thank you for watching this presentation and getting to know what your DNA can do for you. What I'm going to offer today, let me get it. Okay. The way this works with 3x4 is you pay me like Venmo, PayPal for the kit. They send it to you and it's a swab. You just swab the inside of your cheek. You send the test back to them. In 3 or 4 weeks, I get the results. And then you and I get on a Zoom just like this. I pull up a report and we go through your report page by page. And then I send you the report with all these great graphics, with this great summary page, and you will know everything. And now there's the list of all the genes. So if you want to geek out in science land, you can look up every single gene and see, but will be your report. So you'll have the summary pages, you'll know what to do, and you'll know how to implement them. What exercises, what foods, what supplements. All right. So that if you take advantage of that today, it's going to be $499 for the test, plus the time you and I are going to get together to go over your report. And then, okay, I'm going to take a little moment to toot my own horn here. With the big company that gave us this, only doctors could order them through 3x4, 3x4 genetics based on my extensive experience. They granted me the ability to order these DNA reports and do the analysis. Based on my experience, Fullscript, who is the provider of practitioner grade supplements, has allowed me to open a practitioner account. So what that means for you is there are certain supplements that are nutritional grade. I mean, they're therapeutic grade that are cleaner than what you're buying off of Facebook, YouTube, whatever. One of the lines is Apex, which is a therapeutic grade supplement. Fullscript has granted me a practitioner account so that you can order them through me through Fullscript. If you get your DNA report today, I will offer you a 20% discount on any of the supplements that you buy that are recommended in your report when you get them. 20% discount off of any supplements that you order. Even I'll tell you what, even today, you're going to say, I don't want to wait for my report. I already know what I need. I'll give you the link. You can get your discount today. So it's $499 for the report plus my analysis, 20% discount off of any supplements ordered through Fullscript through me. And today with the patches, wholesale pricing. I can send you information on getting wholesale packages of the patches. They come, these are called sleeves, and you get 30 patches in a sleeve. Again, to reduce your inflammation, increase your detoxification, again, without supplements, and what I love about the stem cell patches, people are traveling out of the country, spending a lot of money to get stem cells from questionable sources injected into them. With the patches, you are just activating your very own, and they're going to work. And the science, the clinical studies show that with every 6 months consistent use of the X39, you reduce your cellular age by 8 years. 6 months using the patches, reducing your cellular age by 8 years. So just keep that in mind, because I am a longevity strategist, and genetically I'm going to live forever. No, I'm just teasing. Since I do have a longevity gene, I want to feed it and support it. And that's what happens with your genes. So this is the way they turn on and off. So now that I know that I have this histamine overload gene, if I say, you know what, I don't care about that gene, I'm going to eat walnuts and avocados and all those foods that are high overload foods, what's that going to do? It's going to increase my inflammation. What's that going to do? It's going to increase that methylation, that buildup of toxins. And at some point, something really serious is going to manifest. Or I can be cognizant of what's on that list and just not eat it and not activate that gene. And that's how it works. That's how epigenetics works. Either you choose to do those things to turn that gene on or to turn it off. And we can talk in more detail. You want to get on the phone, you want to get on a Zoom, we can chat in more detail about what the reports do and how you can use them. But this is your personalized health plan. It really is. This is how you can manage your own health before you have to start managing disease. This is Annie Bush, your holistic longevity strategist. Thank you for joining me this Sunday afternoon. Again, you know where to get a hold of me here on Facebook. You can also email me at yourtotalbody@yahoo.com. Those are the two best ways to get a hold of me, either here on Facebook, on LinkedIn. I do believe I'm on LinkedIn right now. Hi, everybody out there, and on YouTube. But you can email me at yourtotalbody@yahoo.com. Again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm really excited about this. This is cutting edge way for you to take control of your own health.